Good evening, all you ghouls and ghosts out there. Happy spooky season of 2022. For the spooky season, we decided to play a bunch of games, Horror Co-op to be exact, and the whole idea is whether we were still into them or not. A lot of them we'd played before, but some of them we hadn't played before.
The thing that kind of caught us off guard this Halloween season was that there wasn't much offerings in terms of new games coming out, especially not for co-op horror games. So we took it as an opportunity to go back and revisit older games and see if they were still worth playing in 2022. But basically the way we laid it out was like, have these games been updated recently, or are they just kind of like barely maintained and dropped off?
What state are they in the present day versus when they first came out?
Because every game that we're about to talk about have had major content updates either since we played them or since they were released. With that out of the way, we'll start off by talking about a game called Killing Floor 2.
This one was new to me, but I can't remember if you played it before.
I had played a lot of the first Killing Floor, and I've owned Killing Floor 2 for a long time, but it's just kind of sat and collected dust in my Steam library.
I had no idea what I was getting into with this game. I had no idea. I was like, a zombie game, another one, let's go. But you know what? I was actually really pleasantly surprised, and I think you were too, right?
I knew I was going to like it. I knew that because I knew I liked the first one. Yeah. What I was looking for was like, was it much of an update since the first Killing Floor? Because like, the first Killing Floor I played probably like 2012 or something. So Killing Floor 2 came out in 2016. From what I could look at online, it's still getting like minimal content updates. Like after we recorded it, they came out with a Halloween update. I don't know if they do the same update every year, if they tweak it at all, or if it's just a reskin. I don't know the extent of it. Having said that, the game is on sale on Steam right now for $7.49 Canadian, which is pretty cheap.
That's a good bang for your buck,
It definitely is, because honestly, like, we want to play more of this game this month.
It was a great kind of, I don't want to say chill, but like chill in the way that a horde of zombies would be chill. Game that you can play with friends, and it's always going to be different. I feel like, even though it's a repetitive thing, even though it's repetitive in nature, it felt really fresh. It felt like they were moving you along at a good pace. Like for instance, when you were, done a round of zombies, then you would upgrade your gear, right? You would have a chance to be upgrading your gear, and it wasn't like we were sitting there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes waiting until we could like change our gear.
No, yeah, the barrier for entry with this game was like really low, which is great. Like, it's a game I feel like I could easily convince other friends to grab.
Yeah.
We would hop in and go. Now you could play with up to 8 people from what I saw. We played with a couple people in our chat when we streamed it live over on twitch.tv/Couplecade, by the way, if you're interested.
Right. Put that right in there.
So yeah, we played it with chat. We really loved it. We found, like I said, that the barrier for entry was really low. Learning the game was very easy because it was like an easy concept to grasp. Yeah. Kill a wave of zombies, survive the round, upgrade your gear, get to the next round. You would play, I think, 5 rounds. On the 5th round, there would be some kind of boss fight. There's a handful of bosses that they rotate through, and there's a bunch of maps that it rotates through as well, which I thought was kind of fresh. It made every run different. You also choose a class. Choosing that class gives you like a buff to like certain skills in the game. So I was playing, I can't even remember the name of the class, but it was the one that allowed for like extra headshot damage, basically. It was, it might have been called Sharpshooter.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
We're going to say it's right, even though it's probably not right. But I was also doing the fire starter. That's what I'm going to call them. No, it was called Firebug, I think. Firebug. And it was fun the way that they had kind of made some tweaks into like all of the weapons. Because going in there, I was like, oh, fire! I love fire! Flamethrower all the way! And then I was like, shotgun? No, I'm a fire gal! I gotta use fire! And then I tried the shotgun and I was like, whoa.
She was like, oh.
I'm shooting hot fire from my shotgun shells as well. So it was kind of fun how they kind of tweaked and changed all these weapons into something that was a little bit more special.
Yeah.
That was fun as we were going along.
And with the class stuff too, that makes it feel like there's a lot to play with.
Yeah.
So when you play with like a bigger group of people, or like when it's just the two of you, you can like try different class combinations and see what will help you get further or like play the game more easily.
It seems like that kind of loadout build was like super important too, because I found that there were certain bosses that we struggled with and we were just, you know, on baby mode in the game. But there were some instances where we were like, oh my god, this is actually like really, really hard, and my loadout isn't like well equipped to handle this. So I feel like that's where you could really get in with your team and be like, okay, what are we gonna do? Who's gonna play what? What do we need to well round this team?
Yeah, like that made it really fun and fresh. I mean, I'm sure if you're someone that's played it since 2016, you know, you probably don't look at the game too much anymore. However, I do feel like this game shares a commonality with a lot of other games that we play, and that, yeah, you might not look at it for a long time, but then you can come back to it every few months, a year, and it's still fun to come back to that.
Reliably fun.
So this one definitely had a thumbs up from both of us. We really enjoyed Killing Floor 2, and we would say it does hold up in 2022.
What would you say were your thoughts on the aesthetics? Because there are a billion zombie games out there, but what were your thoughts on
I think
that
the
for
maps
this game?
looked really pretty. At least a handful of them did. Like there was the one that was in Paris, and it was like Paris was burning, and that one looked really cool.
That was cool.
The mobs look kind of varied. You know, like it's not just like generic zombie boy. Like like your grunts, or I don't know what they're called, but like the basic zombie looks like a basic zombie. But the other mobs, some of them look pretty intimidating and pretty cool.
Yeah, some of like the more special zombies, like the explodey guys, or like the shrieky ladies too. That was kind of fun, and you could easily, you know what I really liked is that you could easily pick those guys out of a crowd of like normal zombies, whereas in some games with like zombies, they kind of blend in with the rest of the zombie like pack.
There's another game on our list where I think that game is guilty of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it wasn't, you didn't need like a fancy outline or anything, or like your characters being like, look out for the such and such.
I
Like
think
you could tell.
I think you could tag mobs too, though, which is
Oh,
good.
sure.
Because I hate it when games don't have that feature.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. And the actual gunplay, I guess we could talk about that briefly, because that's going to be a factor in a lot of these other games. The gunplay actually felt pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like I was just shooting through cotton candy. You know what I mean? Like it felt like it had a little bit of weight to it, which was good. I mean, there's different games out there that like have nailed the like gunplay and game feel, but like this game is pretty good.
Yeah.
Overall. So, especially if you can get it on sale, this game is absolutely worth it to play with, like either a friend, your partner, or just co-op.
Absolutely. Good time.
Next up on the list, we're going to talk about Back 4 Blood.
Yes.
Now, this is a game that we played when it launched. We played it on Game Pass. We also played the closed beta. We had really high hopes for this game. We thought this was going to be one of our main games on the channel.
We were excited
love
about
this.
it. I wonder how many hours we've actually put into the game.
Not many. I would say probably a dozen.
Yeah.
Like 12 hours at the most.
It became repetitive very, very quickly for us when it first launched.
Within the first 5 hours, I was bored.
Yeah, we did it like a couple streams of it, and then we kind of just put it back down.
We had the hopes of, hey, it's 2022. I know they came out with a big content update. We haven't touched it in over a year.
Yeah.
Maybe there's been a bunch of balance changes, new guns, new cleaners, they're called, like the characters. Maybe there'll be something here that brings us back into it.
Yeah. We were kind of, again, having that little seed of hope of like, oh, maybe it actually was like more fun than we remember, or like maybe with these changes it'd be just what it needs.
Because we have had the odd game before where like we play it at launch or play it at one point, wait a bit, then play it later on. We're like, oh, this is great. Sadly, I don't think that was the case for us with Back 4 Blood. Again, we got bored very quickly. We continued on the story mode from where we left it. Like we'd only got like halfway through it.
Yeah.
So we played a couple more levels in there. We played it with another friend in chat, so there was 3 of us. That was cool to play with someone else.
Absolutely.
But again, it felt repetitive almost immediately. And the thing, it's hard to put your finger on what exactly is boring about it, or like what doesn't pull you in. And I kind of came away from it feeling maybe it's to do with the gunplay, because even on the difficulty we were on, it didn't feel like fights ever got really intense. It didn't really feel like my gun was doing anything, you know what I mean? It just felt like it was just mowing through them, but it didn't feel satisfying doing that.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. I also felt like the map in general was kind of getting lost to me when we were just fighting waves of zombies, and it was just like, I found that it was, here's the thing, it's almost like it was like one-dimensional. Like it was almost as if, to me, it was kind of similar to like, you know, those like moving targets on like a what's it called? On like a when you
like
have to throw a ball.
Like a gallery, like a gun range.
Yeah, like at a little gun range thing. Like it didn't feel like I was quite in it. Like I wasn't involved so much in the world or what was happening or what our characters even needed to do.
Yeah.
Or where they were going or what was the point of that. Like, you know, it felt like it was kind of, it lost that a little bit and it felt more like one of those little gun range things where it was just like, hit the target. Good job.
Well, I think part of it too is it didn't feel like I had to be strategic in any way, shape, or form. I would just unload, reload, keep shooting.
Yeah.
And it was it's like all the pieces are there for something really interesting. Like there's that whole deck of cards that you have that modify abilities and you change that going into missions.
Yeah.
You find more of those cards throughout the levels. I feel like that mechanic has a lot of potential. And I remember when we played the beta, like there was ones you could pick up where it gives you like life steal if you melee kill and things like that. I was like, oh, well, maybe I can make the challenge for myself if I like build my deck in such a way where I'm doing a specific thing and maybe that'll be more fun. But it never did grab me.
And, you know, we already had a bit of a deck like going from where we last left off, but I didn't really notice the things. I didn't really notice the cards really being like, oh, it's a good thing I had that one there.
Or even the different characters. I didn't feel like my character was significantly different from Carla's. I know your character was some sort of support
medic
type character. I think mine might have been similar to what I did in Killing Floor. It was like extra headshot damage with certain types of guns, something like that.
He's the crit boy.
Because I like that in games. I like building. I'm gonna get the biggest number possible. Do you know what I mean? I like that kind of play style in games.
Yeah.
It didn't grab me.
When I was looking back at like the footage of us playing, it was almost like it was slower paced than Killing Floor 2. It was almost as if Killing Floor 2 had good momentum, you know. You'd get through this wave of zombies and then you would have like an upgrade thing where you would do and you would regroup and then you'd be like, all right, what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna be this time? You know?
Yeah.
Whereas Back 4 Blood felt like it was you were slowly crawling through a level and you were just trying to like get through it, but you weren't really smelling the roses along the way.
No.
With any kind of boss fights and stuff like that. Well, it just kind of felt like you were just fighting to get to the next like save point, but not in a good way.
And to add to that too, the week after we played this, the Darktide beta happened.
Oh my god.
And we played Darktide, and within the first 5 minutes of playing Darktide, right away I was like, oh, okay, this is what's supposed to feel good when you're like mowing down hordes of enemies. Like any kind of horde co-op game like that. Like Vermintide absolutely nailed that, and they continued that on with Darktide. Yeah. I mean, this isn't about Darktide, but just comparatively, like it put it into perspective for me because we just played Back 4 Blood the week before, and I was like, why is this not jiving?
Yeah.
And that was when it clicked. We played it through Game Pass. I know the game is still expensive. Like, let me check how much it is on Steam. Because overall, even if I got this game for like $10-15, I would not be happy. Yeah, right now, it's $60 US.
Yeesh.
So $80 Canadian for us. Not even remotely worth it, in my opinion. Not even remotely worth it. I mean, there's probably people out there that disagree and say, hey, it's actually a really fun game. Yeah. It wasn't for us.
It just, you know, I feel like we might just have like a very peculiar way of approaching like two-player co-op multiplayer games.
Maybe.
But it just felt like it wasn't really jiving with us. We couldn't really like bounce things off of it to, you know, being like funny with chat or anything like that. It just was kind of
It was making me sleepy. Straight up, it made me sleepy.
Yeah. So next on the list, Phasmophobia, a game that when it first came out really scared the poop out of me. Like really, like it was bad. It was really bad. It really scared me. Really scared me. And then we kind of played enough of it where we were like, okay, yeah, we can predict what's gonna happen. And I was like, yay! I don't have to be scared. I can figure it out because it's a puzzle. And then we had more updates, and we played it with those updates.
Yeah, not too far after the launch of the game, there was some updates like within the first month, and so it kept us playing it a little bit on and off, which was good. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. We kind of were at a place where we were like, okay, we feel like we've thoroughly played this game. But when we thought about making this video, we were like, oh, we should go back to Phasmo because there's been even more updates.
I knew that there had been a bunch of updates to the game. There had been more maps added, more tools. They changed the way the hub area looks like when you load into the game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was kind of quality of life changes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it was new features, and the features that they did add were actually really fun.
Yeah. One major one was like on the gigantic maps like Asylum, you are now like can be sectioned off to like a portion of that map if you have like a smaller party, which I love because those maps were always super cool. Like the high school and Asylum were super cool, but like impossible when you had just a few people tackling it.
To cover all that ground.
My God.
Yeah, it was kind of rough. So the one feature change that I really liked, not change, addition, was that they added more cursed items to the game.
Mm.
So there was like this one level we played where we were messing around with a tarot deck. So it was like random what you would draw and it would like create an effect.
Oh, it was so good.
Stuff like that is really sweet because it adds that other level.
It really does.
There was a cursed mirror. I don't really know what that did. But it was there.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
Did it show you through the ghost's eyes or something like that?
I don't know about that. I actually don't know. I didn't look in it.
But yeah, and then the voodoo doll had another feature. I'm not sure what it was because I don't think we had a map with the voodoo doll. But they added something with that. New ghost types. They changed like the UI for the journal and stuff, which it really needed.
It really needed.
And it feels great having that change in it.
Yeah, seamless now.
Having said everything we've said about it, I did get bored again. Not because I thought, oh, the game sucks. It's just because I've been there, done that with this game at this point. I think part of that is that I typically don't get that scared with these kind of games. So playing Phasmophobia again, it was still, even with all the changes, they changed like the AI of the ghosts and stuff too. Even with all of that, I still found it was like textbook. Like I would run in like an idiot and I would do all this crap and I wouldn't really feel like I'm in danger. To me, Phasmophobia is a game that's like 75% of the way there.
Yeah.
And it just kind of needs something else to push it over the edge.
Yeah.
The reason that I say that is because we've also played, not a co-op game, but The Mortuary's Assistant this October.
Right.
And that game kind of terrified me. So yeah, Phasmophobia is not quite there. It still feels a little bit rough around the edges.
It does. It feels like they still need to tweak certain things to make you feel like you're a little bit more a part of it, or like that you're really like wrapped up in it. You know what I mean? And I think some of it for me is kind of like the jankiness with the characters and how they move and like picking things up and placing them down is a little hokey still. Like I feel like they could definitely do more with it. Like even with some of the ghosts and like the things that happen with the ghosts.
Ghost events?
Yeah, ghost events. Like I feel like they could do more with that. Get a little more like creepy. Like what about like a frosty handprint against a window and then it drags down or something like that, you know? Like having something more interactive rather than just something appears or something is thrown or something is said.
Yeah, because with the ghost events, I just find I don't really give a crap about it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're used to it, then you're like, oh yeah, they just made a little noise.
That's 50 hours that we have in the game now.
That's true.
That just playing it that last time, that was probably like a 3-hour session we played.
Yeah.
And I was bored before the 2-hour mark in the session. It either has to feel more real or they have to add in more mechanics that like distract you, because that's what's scary about the Mortuary Assistant. You're doing all these small tasks that involve different like small mechanics, like drag this slider around here, grab this item.
A multi-step process.
It's a multi-step process. Now, I feel like Phasmophobia could easily do that. Because right now, all I do is I grab a couple of devices and I run in. Like, I run in with a spirit box.
Yeah.
And I literally just say over and over, like, are you angry? Are you there? Like, how old are you? Like, you're trying to talk to the ghost. I'm not scared by that.
Yeah.
I'm literally running around the whole place trying to figure out where this ghost resides. There is no element of shock or fright in there. Having said that, when we very first played the game, it was so fun.
Yeah, and it was fresh too. Like there wasn't really anything out there that I knew about that was like that.
There was a bunch of clones that came out like within a few months after it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So it had so much potential again, and it could go so much further than it has. It just hasn't gone to that point. And how many years has it been out? Like 2 years, 3 years?
It came out 2020, yeah.
Yeah.
September 2020. So yeah, a couple years now. So what I will say then is Phasmophobia is worth playing if you haven't played it before.
Absolutely.
If you're like us and you got it in 2020 and you played it like a couple Halloweens in a row there, it's not
it's
much
gonna
different.
be repetitive. I mean, you might want to get the gang back together again and
just to play a few rounds to check out the new content. But yeah, it's a game that I'll only check in on every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that's our verdict on...
I hope they do more with it, honestly.
I don't know if they will. Because I think it would involve a big overhaul in how their gameplay works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't see them doing that. I feel like they've made their money, for a couple of years. It was a very successful game.
Yeah.
I think if anything, they probably want to move on to some other project.
Probably.
And give it like, we'll add a new ghost type every few months, or like here's a new tool. I don't think they'll do too much with it, so I wouldn't expect it to change.
That's fair.
That's Phasmophobia.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it before, play it.
You should do it.
If you have,
maybe if you want to do it one night a year.
Okay, so next up we have 7 Days to Die.
That's right.
This game is probably, yes it is, it's the oldest game on the list. Ooh. It's the game that's been out the longest, and it's a game that we have not played before until this October. We played it because we found it on Xbox Game Pass. We have Game Pass for PC. We also played Back 4 Blood on this, so I think it's worth mentioning. If you are like us, say you're a couple and you want to play a bunch of co-op games together, Game Pass is so worth it, because then you're not buying 2 copies of every game whenever you want to just dabble and try something out.
Honestly, if you want to try something multiplayer co-op and you have to buy 2 copies, it's such a turn off. You have to do your research essentially to make sure that it's worth it.
Unless it's cheap and it's,
Sure, of course.
fun for a few hours. Anyway, so 7 Days to Die, it's on Game Pass, completely new to us, and when we first launched the game, we had a bit of an issue getting into each other's game.
Yeah.
Like we had to Google it. It took a hot minute to actually figure out how to do it. So that kind of knocks it down a couple points.
Yeah, it's not really good if
it's not too intuitive.
Yeah, that's the word.
Having said that, once we did get into each other's game, we were like, oh okay. Like, oh, this makes sense, sense, that makes sense. So it just took a little bit of a hump to get over to get there, which didn't take us too long, to be fair, and it wasn't enough to make us like flat out turn the thing off. So crossplay doesn't work in this game. It's something that we found out. A friend of ours in chat, our moderator Pandas, was going to play with us. Mm-hmm. She has the Steam version of the game and therefore could not connect to us on the Game Pass version of the game.
Which is super sad.
So that is something to keep in mind if you plan on playing this with friends. Mm-hmm. Once we kind of got the idea of like, oh, okay, this is the basic mechanic to build a bed, to like forage this, grab this, it got very fun very quickly.
It got totally ridiculous and goofy as well.
Yeah. So Carla had to run across the map to find me, which took her a hot minute. We found each other. We grabbed a couple things. We foraged and grabbed some gear, and then quickly found like, oh, there's like a quest system in here. So it was like, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing, and eventually we had this armory or store type thing that we had to go to, and there was like AI in there that would give you quests, which was essentially to the effect of go to this house and clear it of zombies, or go to this location, pick up this package and bring it back here.
That kind of stuff I love in some sort of a survival game, because for me, I get totally lost and a little disinterested in just like an open map, open world, like do whatever you want, you could build, because I need something to keep me going. I'm never the person, like I just don't like Minecraft, because it's just like I don't care about building the thing. Give me something to kill, give me something to do, give me a story. I want that.
She needs objectives and exploring and that kind of thing. And this game I found was much less focused on the crafting and building portion, at least from us playing it, because what we did was we found this old sort of base that was pre-built and just kind of settled in there.
That's what I like though. You could choose, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of building involved that you could do, and you could build it from like the ground up.
Yeah.
But you could just go and find some place and just take it over too. Like, it's nice that it gives you the option that you don't have to build something from scratch, which would take all of your time, really.
We really enjoyed the questing system. I really enjoyed all the different mechanics that were involved with, like, you can get an infection.
Yeah.
You could break a bone, and you would need different items, and you would have to craft different solutions to like help with those problems.
Are you going to scavenge for them, or are you going to find the materials and make them? Are you going to level up and be really good at medicine in order to make things to heal you? Stuff like that. It was really cool.
And it was quite a bit further on into the game that we discovered, oh shit, there's actually like, you earn skill points when you level up, and you have to allocate them to different things. And that's how you get recipes for stuff. That's how you get better at combat, or you know, you get less hungry or less thirsty, or like whatever it is you choose. Classic survival mechanics are there. Like, you can get cold, you can get wet, you can get thirsty, hungry,
break your leg,
you know, all that stuff. And it was fun. It felt, I want to say it felt fresh, but the game came out in 2013.
Wow.
From what we heard from people in our chat too, the game was quite rough in the early days. And I would like to go and watch some videos of it back then, because you can still kind of feel some remnants of the roughness, if that makes sense. Like, the game doesn't feel super polished. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like this is a complete package kind of thing. Like, it still feels a little rough around the edges, but it's still charming.
One other thing that was super duper fun with that was the Twitch integration. That was hilarious.
The Twitch integration was absolutely stellar.
I liked how it was organized too, so you weren't spammed with it. But like, it really did help in some moments too, when it was like, all right, I gotta run like a marathon to get to this one thing, and then chat just like speeds us up, and I'm like, thank you.
Effectively, the way it functioned was that people in the chat would have a currency that they would spend on different commands. So they can cause bad things to happen. They can cause like big groups of zombies to attack us. They can cause airdrops to happen that have like medication in it, like ammo or guns, or they can do goofy stuff like make us run fast, slow us down, make the screen go wobbly, and like,
oh my gosh, I
have
didn't like that one.
a squeaky hammer sound effect happen every time you smack something.
Our dance party.
It was a dance party effect. I don't really know what it did other than
it was just music.
Play music. So yeah, there was cool stuff in the game like that. So the biggest thing I would say about 7 Days to Die is I really enjoyed it because it was a completely fresh experience to me. I've played a ton of survival games and I love the survival genre. Carla, not so much. Like she's talked about, she doesn't like crafting, that kind of thing.
It depends. For me, I have a lot more fun when there's a lot more people around, because then there's many things you could be doing. You could be going like all together to defeat a big boss or something. Or, you know, people can split off. You can go and find other people, and, you know, a lot of hijinks can happen. And I feel like that's also, like, 7 Days to Die is also one of those games where if you had a lot more people in it, too, it, like, get really fun and funny.
It could, yeah. But having said that, with just the two of us, we did find it really fun.
Absolutely.
You know, just on its own that way. It was good. It had a nice mix of, like, it'd be super hectic and then super quiet, and we can, like, you know, it had ebb and flow to it. It was great. Would recommend it. In terms of like how much the game costs.
How much is it right now? Let's see.
Oh my god, it's on sale right now for Halloween, so it's 70% off. You can get it for $8.39.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's 100% worth that.
That is good bang for your buck.
And maybe you got this game at launch, and then I don't know what state it was in then, but if you haven't played it in a long time, it's probably worth playing.
I should go back to it.
I don't think they do too much these days in terms of content for the game. They are doing like alpha builds and adding patches. Like, there is content happening. I just don't know at what rate, you know, they're updating things. So it is worth playing in 2022. I would say that because we waited to play it, and I'm glad we waited to play it because it's in a much more fun state rather than frustrating things happening. The game never crashed or anything like that for us.
No, it didn't.
No, it worked well.
It was good.
No complaints from us.
Yeah.
So go play 7 Days to Die.
Yeah.
Would recommend. There, it gets the thumbs up. Okay, so lastly on our list of co-op horror games that are still worth playing in 2022, and Showdown.
Oh, reliable.
Anyone that knows Couplecade, Ray and Carla, knows that we love Hunt Showdown. I have played this game since early 2018 when it first launched. I have not looked back since. The amount of content that they put out consistently in terms of new guns, new hunters. There's 3 maps now. There was only 1 map at launch. There's new bosses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's the game I feel like that keeps on giving. And even if they didn't add new content for like over a year with this game, I would not get bored of it.
I think I've been playing for a year and a half now, and I've put over 500 hours into this game.
Yeah. Like we do love this game. I have 1,200 hours in the game.
There we go.
So safe to say I love it. So I guess we should kind of change the way we're talking here because we've put it out of the way now. You know we love it.
Yes.
If you're someone that bought the game early on and say you haven't played it in a while, yes, it's worth playing again.
Absolutely.
Because, new maps, balance changes, guns, hunters, content keeps coming out.
Yes.
They also keep adding new systems to the game. There's now quest systems that can earn you things like weapon charms. They do Twitch drop events. There's a Halloween event that's just starting, I think, as we're recording this. They add stuff constantly. There's always content to play around with.
And it's so much fun with friends too. Like I've never played the game solo. I've never played the game solo. I don't really have like a desire to. To me, the fun resides in having a team and going in there together to get the bounty.
Playing with a group.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you bought it a while ago, it's worth checking out again. If you're someone that has never played this game and you're looking for a new co-op experience, with a partner, a friend, whatever, yes, it's worth playing. If you, with the criteria here, if you like first-person shooters, 100%. If you like horror games, 100%. I think in terms of like extraction shooters, this is a genre I feel like that's going to be blowing up in the next couple of years. There's more and more games like this coming out. Like Marauders has just come out. There's another one called Dark and Darker that's being worked on. We're going to be doing more videos on these types of games as the genre grows. But Hunt Showdown is far and away an amazing game for, people either returning or brand new to the game.
That being said, it is a steep learning curve for anybody that's new. If you are new to it and wanting to check it out, like just watch some streamers or watch some videos too. And I feel like you can kind of get the hang of it. But once you're in it too, it's all about, feeling it out and getting your sensitivity right and figuring out what works well for you.
And they have over the years added some methods of onboarding people a little bit more easily. Like there is a training mode now, which, gives you the basic gameplay loop outline. Once you finish that, you're in trainee mode or training mode or whatever it is. So you don't lose your hunter initially. You'll, play for a few games before you actually lose the hunter, so you can learn that way. There's also a gameplay mode called Trials, and what that is you go in with certain challenges, like you're supposed to kill different AI or like run through the map, and like that way you can learn the locations of maps, like how the gunplay feels. Like you can learn the game through these different methods before actually diving in headfirst into a game, like I had to do back in the day. The game has changed so much since I first started playing it, and it's only getting better. It's like aging like a fine wine, in my opinion. It's just getting better and better as we go on.
Absolutely.
So yes, play Hunt Showdown.
Do it.
Would recommend, especially for the spooky season, because it is a spookier game.
Oh god, it'll get you.
It's funny though, because like I feel like Carl and I are kind of numb to it at this point, because although the game is scary, it's got like zombies and monsters and all sorts of weird stuff in it, but the scariest thing in the game is other players, honestly.
Nothing makes you want to poop your pants more than randomly getting headshot from somewhere in the bushes and you're just instantly down.
It will make you jump. So yeah, go play Hunt Showdown for the spooky season. It also gets a thumbs up. Let us know about any other co-op games you would have liked us to check out. I mean, there is a plethora of games out there that kind of fit within the horror genre, whether it's just like spooky aesthetic, like V Rising was another one that came to mind. But
right.
There's just not enough hours in the day for us to play everything.
It's true.
But we would love it if you'd let us know some of your favorite co-op horror games, and maybe we can make another video of this a couple months down the line, and we can visit another batch of them. Doesn't have to be Halloween to just check out spooky co-op games. So yeah, we'd love to know your guys' opinions and thoughts. If you're still looking for more Couplecade, then please check out our opinions on the Dark Tide closed beta. It's a game that we are very hyped for, and you can check out some gameplay and our thoughts and opinions on it right here. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe and all that good stuff.
Yeah, join the Discord and see you maybe over at Twitch. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.